The stage was set, not metaphorically, Mahreli, literally. Bright studio lights bathed the curved table of the view in gold. Mugs with the show's logo line the center. A sea of pastel blazers framed by LED backdrops cycling through network teasers. Everything looked rehearsed, calm, familiar. But beneath the surface there was tension, static, something that would detonate before the hour was up. Taylor Swift stepped into the studio like she had 100 times before. Long strides, tailored cream suit, her iconic red lipstick a perfect contrast to her cool exterior. She was here to talk about her new docuseries, Daughters of the Revolution, a project highlighting historical female voices in American politics. She smiled as she waved to the audience, but even through the monitor, something in her eyes looked measured. Joy Behar saw it too. "I don't buy it," she muttered under her breath as Taylor made her way to the table. "Don't start," Whoopi Goldberg warned quietly. Taylor sat. The applause settled. The camera zoomed. Sonny Hostin kicked things off with a warm introduction. "We are so thrilled to have with us today an artist, an activist, a cultural icon, Taylor Swift." The audience erupted. Taylor gave a practiced, humble nod. "For those watching," Sonny continued, "Taylor's new project explores the forgotten voices of political resistance, especially women who challenge the system from within. It's bold, it's personal," and Joy cut in, "But is it feminist?" A beat of silence. The air changed. Sonny looked at Wyma, then back at Taylor. Taylor blinked. "Excuse me?" Joy leaned forward. "Your series, your album, the rebrands, the speeches at award shows, are they activism or strategy? Because from where I'm sitting, it's starting to look like feminism is just the latest aesthetic you've commodified." The studio audience didn't gasp exactly, but they shifted. Everyone felt it. Taylor's smile faltered. She placed her mug down slowly. "I don't think that's a fair question," she said, her voice even. "If I speak out, I'm calculating. If I stay silent, I'm complicit. I've spent my career walking that line." Joy didn't blink. "That's not an answer." Whoopi cut in, clearly trying to cool things. "Okay, let's not go full Twitter thread on national TV. Taylor, tell us what inspired the docuseries." "I want to answer that," Taylor said, her eyes still locked on Joy. "Because it's important. For a long time, I didn't speak about politics or social justice. I was told it would hurt my brand. Then when I did, I was accused of weaponizing it. So yes, I've made mistakes, but I'm learning. That's what growth looks like." Joy shrugged. "Or maybe it looks like focus grouping every move." The audience murmured. Taylor laughed once. No joy in it. "I'm sorry, but are we really doing this?" she asked. "I came here to talk about women's voices in history, and you're turning this into an interrogation?" Joy raised an eyebrow. "I'm just asking the questions that people at home are thinking." "No," Taylor said, her voice dropping. "You're accusing me of being inauthentic because I don't fit your idea of what activism should look like." "That's not what I said." "That's exactly what you implied." Whoopi clapped her hands once. "All right, everyone breathe. We're going to go to commercial." "No," Taylor interrupted. "Let's stay. Let's talk. Because I'm tired of being dissected like I'm some kind of formula. Yes, I know how media works. I know how I'm perceived, but that doesn't mean my work isn't sincere." Joy didn't look away. Sincerity isn't immune to scrutiny. And cynicism isn't the same as journalism. Taylor snapped back. The red light above the camera flashed. Back in 3, 2, 1. They were live again, and round 2 was about to begin. Joy Behar came back from commercial with the kind of tight smile that only veterans of live television knew how to wear. She was steady. Taylor, by contrast, had shifted slightly in her chair, legs crossed, jaw clenched, fingers tapping her knee beneath the desk. "So, Taylor," Joy began, her tone deceptively polite, "you said you wanted to have this conversation. Let's have it. Feminism isn't a playlist. It's not pastel merch or vintage Polaroid filters. So when exactly did you decide that feminism looked like, well, you?" The audience stirred. There were a few murmurs, even a stifled laugh. Taylor took a long breath. "When I started speaking out," she said slowly, "it wasn't because I wanted to be anyone's feminist icon. It was because I saw injustice and realized my silence was contributing to it." Silence again. Whoopi looked ready to cut the feed, but Taylor wasn't done. "You want raw? Fine. Here's raw. I've spent the last decade being picked apart by people who think they know better, people who pretend to care about truth but are just selling their own version of outrage. And guess what? I'm still here, still speaking, still showing up." A long pause, then with deliberate calm, she sat back down. Joy adjusted her notes. "Well," she said with a clipped smile, "at least now we're finally having a real conversation." "No," Taylor said softly, "we're having a reckoning." When the cameras cut for the final commercial break, no one spoke. The producers didn't shout, the assistants didn't scurry. Even the studio audience remained hushed, stunned into silence by what had just played out. Taylor Swift sat rigid, one hand gripping her water glass, the other clenched into a fist in her lap. Joy Behar scrolled idly through her cards as if nothing had happened, though her eyes darted now and then to the reflection in the monitor, checking her posture, her face, her armor. When they came back from commercial, the usual peppy music played, but no one was smiling. "Welcome back to The View," Whoopi said flatly, her voice stripped of its usual warmth. "We're joined by Taylor Swift, whose new docuseries, Daughters of the Revolution, is available now on Netflix." Joy jumped in. "Taylor, before the break, we were discussing the line between branding and belief." Taylor didn't look at her. "I'd like to talk about something else," she said. Her voice was measured, but her eyes shone with fury. "I want to talk about what it feels like to be a woman who's always one question away from being called a fraud." Joy exhaled loudly, the kind of performative sigh meant to signal exhaustion. "You make it sound like you're the only one who gets pushback." "I never said I was," Taylor replied, "but I'm one of the few who get accused of orchestrating every emotion." "That's not on me," Joy countered. "That's on the public." "No," Taylor said sharply, "it's on the media. It's on the narrative makers. It's on shows like this." The audience stirred. Taylor stood again, no longer defensive, just done. "You know what's exhausting?" she said, stepping slightly away from the table. "Being told that your success invalidates your sincerity, that if you cry, it's strategy, that if you speak, it's manipulation, that if you try to do something meaningful, it's a calculated move." "You chose this life," Joy reminded her. "No, I chose music. I chose storytelling. The rest followed." "Then don't act surprised when people ask questions," Joy said. "That's the deal you made." Taylor looked at her, and for a moment the mask slipped. Her voice cracked, not from weakness, but from intensity. "I didn't make a deal. I made art. And I won't apologize because the world can't handle a woman who controls her image." Joy leaned back, crossing her arms. "Maybe the world just wants authenticity." "And maybe," Taylor replied, "authenticity looks different than you're willing to accept." Silence. Deafening. The kind that carries weight. Then Taylor gave a nod to Whoopi, a silent gesture of thanks, and turned to leave. She didn't storm out. She didn't slam anything. She walked, calm, controlled, powerful. Whoopi looked to camera. Well, she said with a sigh, that was something. As the outro music played, the panel sat motionless. Joy looked shaken, only slightly, but it was there. And in living rooms across the country, people weren't reaching for the remote. They were rewinding. Joy leaned in. Except when you were silent, you were criticized. When you spoke, you were praised. And somehow you managed to turn both into brand equity. That's not activism. That's business. The shot widened. The tension was now visible across the whole panel. Whoopi was blinking hard like she wanted to cut to commercial again. Sunny had gone quiet. Alyssa Farah Griffin was texting someone beneath the table. Taylor's tone sharpened. So because I'm successful, my voice doesn't count. You want women to speak up, but only if they do it for free? Only if they don't benefit from it in any way? I want authenticity, Joy shot back, not repackaged empowerment sold on vinyl. Taylor didn't flinch. You're talking about aesthetics. I'm talking about risk. Do you think I didn't lose fans when I took stances? Do you think death threats, boycotts, losing radio play didn't matter? Do you think putting my name and face on causes didn't come with a cost? But you still climbed higher, Joy interrupted, every time. Like controversy was your rocket fuel. Taylor's voice dropped an octave. You think I wanted any of this? You think I sat down and plotted how to make feminism profitable? I've had to fight just to be heard in rooms that only saw me as a love song machine. Joy's tone turned cold. No one forced you to play into the image. The long relationships, the heartbreak songs, the cryptic lyrics, everything is part of the Taylor Swift brand. It's part of my life, Taylor shot back. And I turned pain into purpose. That's what art is. Joy smirked. Or propaganda. Taylor leaned forward now, both hands on the table. You don't get to rewrite my story because it doesn't match your expectations. You want to challenge me? Fine. But don't pretend that cynicism is courage. The crowd reacted this time. Applause, someone whooped. Joy let the reaction roll off her. If you think that applause proves your point, then maybe we're already too far gone. Taylor looked at her. Not angry now, not defensive, just exhausted. You know what's tiring? She said. That no matter what I do, sing, speak, donate, organize, I'll never be enough for people like you because you don't want truth. You want a target. The silence was thick. Whoopi finally jumped in. All right, we're gonna... Taylor stood up. I'll stay, she said. But if you want to keep dissecting me like I'm a product, just know I'm done being polite. Joy folded her arms. So am I. By the time the cameras rolled again, the energy in the studio was unmistakably different. The audience wasn't just watching a talk show anymore. They were witnessing a battle unfold. Taylor Swift hadn't sat back down. She was standing at the end of the table, arms folded, her voice low but clear. I've built everything I have, she said, with my words, my music, and my choices. And yes, some of that has made people uncomfortable. But what's more uncomfortable is a woman who refuses to apologize for her success. Joy didn't flinch. You confuse discomfort with criticism. The issue isn't that you're successful. It's that you position yourself as the underdog while controlling the narrative like a media mogul. Controlling the narrative, Taylor repeated. Isn't that what you're doing right now? Painting me as some manipulative opportunist instead of someone who's using her voice to challenge norms? You don't challenge norms, Joy replied coolly. You polish them, package them, sell them. You're not breaking the system, you're monetizing it. That landed hard. Taylor blinked slowly. So every woman who finds a platform and uses it is just a sellout to you? Not every woman, Joy replied. Just the ones who conflate branding with bravery. There was a ripple in the crowd, whispers, a sharp gasp, someone audibly muttering, "Damn." Sonny Hostin jumped in finally. Let's take a second here. Taylor, I think what Joy's trying to say is, no, Taylor interrupted, her voice stronger now. I don't need a translation. I understand exactly what she's saying, that I don't belong at the feminist table unless I fit her mold. I never said that, Joy snapped. You didn't have to. For the first time, Taylor looked out at the studio audience. We tell women to speak up, to stand tall, to lead, and then we tear them apart when they do. Not because of what they're saying, but because of how they say it. Too loud, too composed, too pretty, too strategic. She turned back to Joy. I didn't come here to prove anything to you. I came here to talk about women who were silenced in history. And now I'm standing here being told I'm too polished to be sincere. Do you realize how absurd that is? Joy crossed her arms. You're making this personal. It is personal, Taylor shot back, because the double standards are personal. You think I haven't noticed that when a man markets himself, it's genius, but when I do it, it's exploitation?